So we preached the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, the cross, right? I grew up with that my whole entire life, and it is what we say will get us into heaven. And I'm not denying that. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. But the gospel message that Jesus taught was before the cross. Because when the cross happened, the disciples were absolutely shocked and they ran and fled. So they didn't know this gospel message that we preach. Therefore, everything that Jesus was teaching them for 3.5 years was about a kingdom, not about his death. And they went from city to city teaching this good news, this gospel message. And in fact, Matthew, at the end of his life, it wasn't like he was taking notes of what Jesus was saying and what happened so that he wouldn't forget. But at the end of his life, when he's seen his friends were dying, Jesus wasn't quite coming back. The good news of the gospel message was being changed. It wasn't about the kingdom anymore. It was most likely about the death, burial, and resurrection, because that's what Paul was teaching them. And a lot of the conversations that were written anyhow were going towards the Jewish or the non-Jewish people, the Gentiles. And so anyhow, Matthew, he's writing what the actual message, the gospel message was for their day. And what the 4 gospels were all about. And so he starts writing, he starts in verse 1, and he starts writing what this gospel message is. And he keeps going and he keeps going. He gets to chapter 24, just before he is going to write about the death, burial, and resurrection. And he says, now, from chapter 1 to chapter 24, this is the gospel message that will go around to the whole world, and then the end will be here. Did you catch that? That's the gospel message. They still didn't hear, but they still didn't experience the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. So, the gospel message of the kingdom was vitally important to the disciples back then, and they thought that was the most important gospel message to write. The death, burial, and resurrection was the door that would allow them to receive everything they had been preaching for the last 3 years.